Hello and welcome. You're listening to Limitless talking about, and this week, I'm your host, Erna Beckering, and this week I am talking to Louise Heather, a personal development coach focused on Clifton Strengths, formerly known as Strength Finders. So, welcome, Louise. How are you?
Thank you. Very good.
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about the transformation that you made in your life? Because for all of you out there, Louise and I know each other from our former jobs. So we were both employees, and then Louise started her own business. So tell us about a little bit about how that transpired.
Okay, so let me take you just a little bit back to just before the pandemic. So in 2019, I took a 6-month sabbatical, and in coming back after that, the agreement I had with the company we both worked for was that I had to go into any role that they gave to me. So I didn't really have a choice about the role that I took on. So I came back into a role as an IM or IT project manager. It was a project which had been really stuck for 2 years, made very little progress, very underfunded, very under-resourced, and they wanted somebody who had supply chain experience to pick up the role because their previous IM project managers just hadn't moved things forward.
Yeah.
And it was very much in an area that was working, the crossover between IM and very much supply chain. So not knowing anything about IM project management, I sort of threw myself into it.
Always a good thing, eh?
Absolutely. Got to know obviously the team, built a really good rapport with them, and then found out what was happening, sorted out a lot of the problems. But it was very, very different from what I'd done before. Very much what I'd done before was very much about learning and development and encouraging people. This was just constant chop, busy, making sure that what I had said would happen. If it didn't happen, why it didn't happen, what the next plan was. So it was constantly being on top of making things happening.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I personally was getting any satisfaction out of it. I was making great progress with the project, and we achieved quite a lot, even with the challenges I outlined earlier. But I started to find myself getting really tired, getting really not the most pleasant to be around at home.
Yeah.
Can't think of the right words. And
grumpy.
Yes, yeah, that sort of thing. Short-tempered. And then one middle of the week, one day, somebody sent me an email and asked me something. I duly sent it back, a response. And they came back to me and said, that's not good enough. And I just went, ah! And I just blew up. And I was just shouting at the laptop, laughing, crying. And that email just tipped me over the edge.
Yeah.
I'd been doing the role for 12 months. So I picked it up in November 2019. This was December 2020. So I've also come back into an environment where all of us were. We started off in the office, and then from March 2020, we were all working from home.
Yeah.
And I met my team once.
Just once.
Just once. And they were all over the world, but I'm very thankful for that. We managed to get everybody together to meet them in January of 2020. But I just suddenly, I couldn't cope with everything, and I was just walking around the house shouting and screaming and laughing, and I was mad.
It's like you lost it, huh?
Like I completely lost it. Yeah. And my boss wasn't available at the time, so I phoned another manager and said, I can't cope. I'm shutting my laptop and I'm going for a walk. So I took myself away from whatever I needed to do and all the deadlines, and I just went for a walk, and I must have walked quite a long way. I came back, and then the following day I just picked up my laptop and got on with it again. And then it happened again. The following week it happened again, but this time my boss was available and I phoned him, couldn't get hold of him, but I left him a message this time. And but same kind of scenario. I was crying. I just couldn't control myself. And twice in a week, and I just wasn't functioning.
No.
As soon as there was a little bit of pushback, that's it. Just tipped me over the edge. So he said to me, "Shut your laptop. You're not coming back until January." He said, "You need space and you need to get away from this." He said, "Just don't worry about anything else." He says, "I'll pick it up." He says, "Is there anything urgent that I need to know about? Tell me now. And he says, otherwise, I don't want you to be in contact with your team. I will speak to them. I will sort out all of the issues that, or deal with whatever needs to be dealt with. But you need to focus on you."
Wow. Did you have prior to these happenings, events, did you have a feeling that you were sort of going over the edge?
No,
So
no
it was
indication other than the tiredness and feeling, as you say, grumpy and irritable. No.
So that came as
but it was just a straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. Wow. And then what happened then?
Yeah.
How did you resolve it?
So I spent the first week, I just went out and walked, and I just got myself into nature, and I just got myself into a completely different environment to the house, to the laptop, to the deadlines and the pressures. And I let nature start the healing. And I started to think, and it made me think, is this what I want my life to be like? Do I want to go back and do this afterwards? Where is my life going?
Yeah. The big questions, huh?
Yeah, yes. Big questions I'd sort of posed myself before, but shelved them. But now it was really important. And the other thing I did, I reached out to the employee assistance program and contacted a counsellor. She wasn't available straight away, which actually in hindsight was good, because I needed to do some of that processing and that sort of that nature recovery to be able to be rational in talking to her. And I had 4 sessions with her over about 5 or 6 weeks, and she helped me put some methodologies in place for the here and now to help with the stresses here and now, but also to get me to think about where I wanted to go longer term. And I realized that I didn't want to be in corporate life. I realized I'd been falling out of love with corporate life for a while, and it wasn't giving me the satisfaction and the motivation that I'd had in previous years, when I very much felt I was in my dream job, whereas now it was the daily grind. It wasn't somewhere I wanted to be.
Yeah. And then you started, but did you sort of straight away start to think about doing something for creating your own business, or were you first looking for other jobs, or how did that process go for you?
I didn't want to go and work in another corporate, but having said that, I did apply for a job at a local water company, and I had an interview and they told me I hadn't got it, which I was quite relieved about.
Yeah, sometimes you can have that, huh? It's like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah, and it made me think again, and that sort of reinforced that actually I don't want to do that. I don't want to go into that environment again. So I started thinking about what I could do. I thought about the Gallup and the Clifton Strengths, but maybe I was a bit blinded because I know a lot of coaches. I've connected and networked with a lot of coaches, and I thought that there were so many people out there that I couldn't make a role for myself, or an income for myself in that area. So I started looking at other things, and I decided I would do business coaching, and I did my due diligence and looked at all the different companies that were doing it, and I signed up for a company and I did their training, and went through their program. But looking back on it now, it's such a stupid thing to do, because, you know, somebody coming from corporate, never run a business themselves, thinking that they've got enough learning and experience to coach people who were already in business who were struggling. It was just so stupid. So, but you know, as they say, you don't buy a coat by just trying on one. You've got to try on a few coats to find the one that fits. That didn't fit. So then I looked back in what my other skill sets were. Again, still being blinded by, I know lots of strengths coaches, and that isn't the area for me. So I looked at the learning and development stuff I've done and the training, and what else did I look at? So coincidentally, before COVID, when I've been working in learning and development, we'd done a lot of work to move on face-to-face courses into online courses, just because of the challenge of budgets and international travel. So this was happening pre-COVID, but coincidentally, I'd learned an awful lot about how you convert a face-to-face into an online. So I started talking about that in the networking, the business networking that I was doing, and I got a little bit of business, and I rewrote some training courses, and I got some good experience, but as much as I enjoyed it, I didn't get that real rush of satisfaction that I was doing something that I really loved. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. And then eventually I came back to the strengths coaching, and that's
your strength.
It's the coat that fits.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for 6 years, so I knew it was the coat that fitted, but it's, you know, sometimes you fall out of love with a particular item of clothing and you've got to rediscover it again.
True. And maybe remake it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think I probably have.
Yeah, because the Clifton Strengths, that is a preset thing, but the coaching that you do around it is yours. So that's different. That's for every strength line, or it's Clifton Strengths or strength coach. It's different, huh?
Yeah, and absolutely. And having done a bit of the business coaching and the training and a lot of learning in that area, it enabled me to sort of put a wrapper around the strengths coaching to help people in small businesses to find, well, what is unique about you? What will help you move your business on? Or what can you say about yourself, which is your USP, which will enable you to really talk in a way that will engage other people and showcase your skills and your to get to the best that you can be. So actually, it wasn't that coat didn't fit, but I learnt from wearing that coat for a while, and I've used that in what I'm now doing in strengths and how I'm marketing myself.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds actually good, because you've got this path, and some people just get it right the first time and are very happy with the coat that fits them. But I had the same. I burned out, or almost burned out, in 2018. I found RTT, the rapid transformational therapy, hypnotherapy, which I thought was, that's it. And now I'm more leaning towards coaching, confidence coaching, soul coaching. But a tool that I use is hypnotherapy. So it does, it's not like you have to be fixed on one thing. Eh?
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's what really sings to you and feels right for you, because it doesn't feel like hard work. It just comes more from the heart and the passion, and people see that and they engage with you more.
Yeah, that's it. Eh? When you're authentic, then people just come to you and they know that you're the person for them. And there can be 100 coaches in your area that also do personal development and Clifton Strengths, but they come to you because you have a certain message or a story that resonates with them. So what would you, let's see, no. If you have a client that's sort of in the same position that you were in, what would you recommend them to do?
Look at the things that you love. Really look at the things that, in your experience and your skill sets, look at the things that you love, the things that give you energy, because you will transfer that energy to other people. And that's how the passion and the enthusiasm comes through. So and if it means writing lots of lists and writing everything down and then going back to it and reviewing it, but find some way to go through all of your experience, your skill sets, and, work out what it is that you can do. From a setting up a business perspective, I would say get a coach.
Yeah.
Because you can spend a lot of money unwisely. You can spend a lot of money and not get very far. Whereas a couple of sessions with a business coach will really give you a good grounding as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe also, just even if you don't want to move to own your own business, it's always good to also have a coach when you want to stay in corporate, just to get straight what is for you, if you have to change jobs or, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so it's going back to what are the things that you love? What is you good at? Where do you get that energy? What are your blockages as well? What are the things that are stopping you? So are you overdoing something that is causing you to not move on to an area that you want to? So it's, ask all your friends.
Yeah, true.
And ask them to be honest. And if they can't be honest with you, ask them to write it down if they can't say it to your face.
Yeah.
And get feedback. You need the feedback.
Yeah. So that's the most important point. So get feedback and go find your core, maybe also your core values.
Absolutely.
Because when you're at that place, you're completely out of balance, out of how would you say it?
It grates. It feels uncomfortable. So just the core value is actually quite an important one, because when I was doing the business coaching, one of the ways that they were talking us through how to get clients is to make them feel consciously competent. Now, for me, that just felt against my values of honesty, openness, integrity. I don't want to make you feel bad so that I can get business. How am I going to build a really trusting and open relationship with you if I make you feel bad about what you're doing already? That's just, so that was another reason why the coach didn't fit.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's quite hard, huh? And there's so many programs and business coaches out there and marketing structures, and it's it's a jungle.
It is.
So what kind of people are you coaching at the moment? Business, corporate clients, or also business owners or small business owners? Or
so I'm mainly coaching corporate clients at the moment, people who are looking at it as a career development, how to move on to the next step, to increase their awareness of the behaviours that they have, whether they're overusing things, career development essentially, but also one or two small business owners who are, one in particular, I coached a blind lady who was unsure how to market herself. So it was looking at, well, what are your strengths? Where are you really able to deliver benefit? Where do you, what does it feel like when you're in flow? And actually, we discovered that her blindness was her superpower, not just because we know that blind people have better hearing and better senses, but that also accentuated her intuition and not just the listening, but the underneath that, the intuition, the empathy, the other things that came with that. And she was really able to read between the lines and talk to people in a way, talk to their heart rather than talk to their head.
Yeah. Ooh. That's
And
really
so
nice.
so we came up with some words which really focused and sort of encapsulated that for her, just by going through the strengths process, to which she then uses in her marketing.
Wow, that's nice. What if you look at the Clifton Strengths? What is? Can you sort of I don't know if there is a strength that is more common than other strength, or the strength that's more prominent with people overall, or
if you go into the Gallup data, yes, there are strengths which are more more common than others, but it's probably marginal. But if you look in particular organizations or particular functions, I did some work with some planning teams, and I've done some work with some marketing teams, and you see a high prevalence of so in the planning teams, you see lots of people who have learner and achiever. In the marketing teams, you also see the achiever, but you see more of the creativity, the self-assurance and the communication type and strategy coming in. So
that's funny.
It's interesting to see people in a similar kind of roles. There's there's a high prominence of within their top 5. They are, there's a couple of strengths which reoccur really frequently.
And what about if you look at business owners or small business owners, what would be their more prominent strength?
It really varies. It really varies. I mean, I knew somebody who was an incredible entrepreneur, and he was almost scatty, but you could understand that because he was very high in ideation, so lots of ideas. He was prepared to take risks, but not all small business owners are like that. Some very small business owners are really good at what they do, and there's a draw for what they do, and they just set themselves up to provide services or products against that draw, against that need. Everybody is different.
That's for you. It's really it's never dull, dull, because there's so many things that people can give the world and where you can work with. So it's always action.
It's always learning for me, because even though somebody may have 6 people I coach in one team of 15 may have learner, it may manifest itself in different ways. So I'm still learning, but so that happens in they're very much about they have to do depth in when they learn something new. For others, it's about I can't go on holiday to the same place. I've got to go somewhere different every time. So it manifests itself differently. So there's always a learning. So it's always discovery and helping them with the discovery too.
That's really incredible. Sounds really good. So if people want to get in touch with you and learn more about Clifton Strengths or the personal development, or how would they best go at it?
So if you want to find me, I'm on LinkedIn. So search Louise Heather, or if you do a web search for rowangain.co.uk, you'll find my website.
Okay, I'll put your link and your information in the description, so everybody can reach Louise if you want to, and have fun with her finding your strengths.
Yeah.
And with that, I would like to thank you, Louise, and I hope that people just now see that if you don't live your purpose, if you are stuck, that it can go south in like a minute.
Yeah.
And that you have to take action yourself. It's not like the company is going to take action for you. If you want to change your life, it's up to you how to do that.
Absolutely. It's not about what you do, it's how it is about what you do. actually, and it's being true to yourself and finding your why, which is a really glib thing to say because it is really difficult. It can be really difficult to find.
Yeah, because sometimes you think your why is A, but actually it's B.
Or
And
even M.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Try on many coats.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. If at first the few that you try to start with don't fit, keep going.
Yeah.
Something will fit.
Yeah, that's it, man. Keep going. Keep going. Don't falter, and because it's your heart, it's your life, and probably also the lives of the people around you.
For sure.
Okay, great. Well, with that, I'm just going to close this off. I hope you enjoyed, and listeners, viewers, I hope you enjoyed as well. Please follow, share, subscribe, whatever you can do, and watch out for the next podcast.